of the state of Michigan versus Carlos Benavides, 23754. And appearance, counsel?
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Goldman, PA 1222, appearing on behalf of alongside defendant Carlos Canelo Benavides, President of the courtroom. Mr. Benavides, would you please state your full name for the record?
Carlos Canelo Benavides.
All right, thank you, and good morning. Today is the date scheduled for sentencing in this matter on your client's plea to an amended charge of controlled substance use. And counsel, do you have an opportunity to review the report and recommendation with your client?
Yes, Your Honor. I have had opportunity. We did initially receive a copy of the report via email, and then I did have opportunity, thanks to Chambers this morning, to further review that. Having reviewed and discussed that with Mr. Benavides, we really only have one minor correction to make, and then I suppose the second point would be more appropriate to address in elocution.
Okay.
As for the correction, Your Honor, it notes on the first page of the criminal history that there is the 51203, Your Honor, 112602 Madison Traffic and Contraband Articles Firearms.
Okay.
I believe, and after further reviewing the CCH in the file, that should not say firearms. We do acknowledge that there was an offense on that date from that location. That was an offense while Mr. Benavides was incarcerated in a federal penitentiary. But upon information and belief, Mr. Benavides has acknowledged to me that the criminal history is accurate, but he has no prior firearm-related offenses whatsoever.
Okay, so there was some type of contraband that was in your client's possession while he was in federal prison, and then he was charged with that.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I did note that the entry in the CCH in the file notes contraband, but it did not include firearms, so I believe that may be there in error.
Okay, or maybe that's how it's coded in their system, I don't know, but okay.
Yeah, most importantly, I believe for today's purposes, Your Honor, just would like to emphasize again, Mr. Benavides taking responsibility for his past offenses does absolutely attest that he has had no firearm-related offenses.
Okay, thank you.
And then with respect to the one warrant, it notes, we did look into that situation, Your Honor. That warrant, I do believe, upon information, has been resolved and set aside. That was out of Lincoln Park in connection with a civil infraction notice that Mr. Benavides had not received regarding a court date due to a failure to appear to on the civil infraction. He was then defaulted. They did enter a bench warrant very promptly after receiving the PSI and determining that we believe that is the issue. He did then present to the 25th District Court and did receive a register of actions that shows that that warrant has been set aside.
Okay, with the 25th District Court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, because this one's showing the 36th District Court.
Your Honor, we've also resolved 2 tickets out of the city of Detroit from if it was no proof of insurance. We did resolve those. Last year he was defaulted. We did have that default set aside. We did appear in June of this year and have the city of Detroit matter set aside. I did not see any other active warrants, and I did obtain an iChat report about a week ago, and that does not show anything out of the city of Detroit at this time.
Okay, so that's probably accurate because this shows the date of the warrant was April 13th. The was for traffic offense disregarding officer signal. So the no insurance may have been with that too. I don't know, but that.
I believe so. I do believe there was 2 citations associated with what we had resolved this year.
Okay, all right. And this was resolved, or this was printed on June 30th. So it's possible that it's very likely that's the matter that well, let me just clarify. That was the issue that had the warrant issued, and you're indicating that those have been cleared up in the city of Detroit. So
yes, to the best of our information, believe, and with respect to if there were to be any traffic matters that do remain, I can certainly speak for Mr. Benavides and in my own capacity we have exhaustively researched any possible matters. We've done, or rather, Mr. Benavides has done everything he can to bring all various courts into compliance. As he approaches this court today on sentencing of the pending charge before.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, and then counsel, as to the recommendation.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think what would be a good place to begin in my ultimate request to you to deviate from the recommendation is beginning in the first paragraph of the substance abuse and treatment history. In there, towards the end of that first paragraph, it notes that Mr. Benavides stated that he does not feel he has a problem, but his wife did. That's referring to Mr. Benavides' alcohol use and consumption. And the reason why I want to draw your attention there first, Your Honor, is I think that statement was perhaps miswritten as Mr. Benavides provided it. And I think the misrepresentation is that in just reading it, it does not have the same past tense effect as my conversations and Mr. Benavides' interactions and conduct in the time since this arrest. I stress the past tense nature of that because Mr. Benavides does absolutely recognize that he has a problem, whether it's with alcohol or other controlled substances or even recreational marijuana. And as Mr. Benavides is prepared to tell you, this incident from April 13th and in the over 3 months of the time since that arrest has been not only eye-opening, but certainly life-changing. Mr. Benavides has been on bond, been tested by this court, and has really not just been compliant, but has thrived with the oversight and the intervention of the court. By acting under the court's order and having this new understanding of how these past behaviors and actions contributed in a very negative, harmful way, he has taken that realization and he's really channeled it to live a more productive and particularly healthier life, but not just for himself, for his family. This has been an extreme embarrassment, as he's told me. The position that he's put himself in is terrible, but the position he's putting his wife, who joins him here today in the court as his support system, and his children is really concerning to him and to his family. As a consequence of it, and as a benefit of his sobriety and abstinence, he has been able to undertake a number of educational opportunities for himself. One of which is he did take an online drug and alcohol course. It was an 8-hour course that he took and completed. We did include to the court a copy of the certificate of completion. And Mr. Benavides tells me that that was really the first domino to fall in now a long road of things that he wants to undertake for himself so that he can ensure that the great feeling that he has begun to receive from his abstinence is not just continued or maintained, but really done so in a productive way so that he can not only help himself or help his family, help others in the community, which is consistent with his a very giving nature that he has, but as well as to be there for his children and to be in a position where he can not just contribute to them, whether it be fiscally or in tangible resources, but in education as well, so that his children who are younger and going off to college and some in their mid-20s don't ultimately repeat the same mistakes that he's repeated. In recognizing how easy it is to fall victim or fall into these negative opportunities or negative behaviors, and by being able to educate them from his own experience, I think that could really help not just, again, his immediate family or community, but perhaps generations to follow from there. And Your Honor, I understand, and I'm sure you do, in having seen dozens and dozens of cases where you're told that rehabilitation is there, and some steps have been taken. But I know that as a court, you're concerned about the community in the future. And so Mr. Benavides, and a lot of our conversations is centered around the idea of accountability and responsibility. He's before the court on a plea because he wants to take responsibility and accountability for his wrongdoing, but also to show this court that his words have substance to them, and that he is not just committed to abstinence and sobriety for the period that he's under bond, but really long-standing moving forward. And I believe that Mr. Benavides would greatly benefit from a period of probation such that he could continue to maintain the oversight and the intervention of the court, benefit and utilize the probation department's resources and prove to this court with each and every compliant test that his words and his actions do match with what he is representing to you through me and in his own statement that he would like to provide. In addition to showing that, he does have a number of really positive opportunities just on the horizon here, particularly with respect to employment. He has been very self-sufficient for a number of years in running an effective and successful real estate business where he will purchase rehab homes, rent those out, employ many individuals, a number of which are homeless veterans, and contributing to the community in that sense. But he is looking to take on more work and more perhaps stable work for himself. As these last few years have shown, the economy can be very concerning and scary, particularly when you're in the business of buying and selling and leasing homes. So to that end, to secure more stable and more productive, again, for himself and his family, he has a really unique opportunity where he has already received his commercial driver's license learner's permit, and that was in the course of responding to this matter. But just tomorrow, and he'll be able to speak more to it, has a meeting with a representative from Michigan Works, which is a nonprofit organization that helps individuals with work resources, funding, grants, and a number of other very important life necessities. When if he ultimately does receive the grant through that, not only will he take the next steps in being a licensed compliant CDL driver, he'll be able to be given promotion through this and actually be a crew leader where he can then assist and benefit others. And I think not just in that employment context, but again, can take lessons learned from this experience and from your chambers to then help those individuals as well. And so the opportunity for the lessons that Mr. Benavides has already begun to learn and will continue to learn can really be sent, wide-ranging throughout the community. I think he's really excited and motivated for these opportunities should he be able to avail himself of them. And I think, again, that type of motivation, that type of eagerness and understanding, in addition to the new health and mental benefits that he's receiving, I think make this a starkly different period or chapter of his life than perhaps his past may indicate. I know that he's prepared a statement, and if the court will allow, I think we'd like to read that.
All right, thank you.
Looking at it, this is I don't even want to read off this. The way I look at this is the best thing that ever happened to me, because once I seen everything I was doing, it was like, I think she was about to leave me. My family was hurting my family. They real bad. They say like marijuana is like not a gateway drug, but in my eyes it is, because it made me do worse things. I was doing coke and liquor, and I was doing tons of bad stuff. And my kids, they come, Dad, I'm glad you're not drinking anymore. That hurt me so bad. I was like, oh my gosh. My oldest son just graduated from Roseville. And so what I've been doing is just concentrating on making sure that I study theology, and I gotta practice what I preach. I can't be like trying to tell them this and be running wild. So what I've been doing is just concentrating on freaking just making showing them that they be a strong person, be dedicated about do hard work and show how it is. So that's how I've been going to get my CDL, make sure I'm doing it. I had to go to Michigan Works. I've been doing everything that there's a lot of steps they kept taking. Now I got to go get my registration, where I had to do, go get my social security card, which I lost. I had to get my birth certificate. I had to go take a bunch of testing for them on top of doing all the testing for Secretary of State. And I just wanted to make sure that they don't mess it up. Normally I did real estate. When the COVID hit, it like basically destroyed everything. Everything I was worked for, everything I've done, it seemed like I love that show, Love It or List It. That was my passion. I build something, I see what I've done, and it made me feel great. But I can't put all my eggs in one basket. That's why I was gonna do my CDL, because I have a supervisor. I basically change out street lights. That's what I'm good at. I can change them out, the peds, which is considered pedestrians, the man in hands. You got a hand, you got a man. And my son wanted to go in trades, So that's why I wanted to make sure, like here, I could be a supervisor, I could pull you in, because the electrical union is like pretty much the highest paid union for skills trade. And I was a supervisor there, my boss wants me back, he kept, when all the power going out, he was calling me, can you please come back? My problem was that marijuana status, you can't have marijuana in your system with the Class A CDL, you can't do that. But my boss says he has problems getting people with CDLs. Says no one can do it, or they probably don't want to do it because they probably also weed because it's legal. You know, so that's basically what I've been doing, is just making sure that I get there, get my job back, which I have a meeting tomorrow at 2:15 with the Southgate Michigan Works for my registration. That's the final step I have. It's all I have left to get my grant money, is just to take a drive. And I did all the rest of my own. It would have been over $5,000 if I didn't have my permit, but since I've done everything on myself on my own, it's only $3,000, but I still don't have the $3,000 to pay. So that's where Michigan Works been helping me. I've donated to charities like that. I never thought I'd ever have to use them. Now I'm actually using those charities and understanding what it's for. And that's it, Your Honor.
Okay. Can I hear everything you have said? I hear everything your attorney has said. And sir, you have previous convictions for the same type of offenses, I mean, in the sense it's a drug charge. You have 3 convictions, one of which it appears you went to federal prison for, right?
Yeah, I have the one that, the second one I don't believe was right.
Counsel, your client served time in federal prison for the conspiracy to
Yes.
possess with intent to distribute plus distribute cocaine, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that was 99.
okay. So
The other one was marijuana. That's correct.
okay, so you've been to federal prison,
Cocaine.
Yes, sir.
and then even after you were released from federal prison, were you released on any sort of supervision?
Yes, that's right.
And how long, what length of supervision were you released under?
I had 4 years. I had like 4 years, 8 months. I had 8 months
Okay, so when were you
Yeah,
released? When were you released from federal prison?
in 2005.
Okay. And so then while you were on supervision, you picked up another felony controlled substance charge out of Livonia.
Yeah, marijuana. Yes.
Okay. You're saying marijuana like that makes it better.
It doesn't. That's marijuana like destroyed my life. Me, I've been smoking for so long. This is my eye openers. I never felt this good before. I never felt like having this out of my system. It clouded my judgment so bad. That's why my point was that gateway. People say, "Hey, it is." I don't care if it's legal. That's me, and I look at it as it's evil. It's bad. Because it made me make a lot of bad decisions. It made me lead into a bunch of other stupid things.
So my question then, sir, is what happened between 2007 and 2023 when you had the cocaine again? No.
I never had any cocaine ever since then,
Well,
except for this today.
right, that's my question.
this
What
is-
happened? So it appears though from 2007,
It was 99 was the only time I had.
was your last conviction for possession of controlled substance, whatever it may be, right? I understand previous convictions are cocaine and marijuana. And then April of this year, you had in your possession cocaine. There were 4 bags. And so what happened that you had that in your possession, right? Because who has a phone on and their notifications are on? What happened that you then went back to cocaine? Something had to have happened that triggered that.
That was my depression. I was using a lot, and I was like, there's a lot of people are dying of that fentanyl, so I kind of got it because I didn't want to freaking, I was abusing bad. I literally just got like some money, and I freaking wasted my money when I was in the probation office. I felt like, man, how could I just got some money and I wasted on this stuff? That's why I kind of like started breaking down with the probation officer. I did my PSI because I understood that's what I was like waking up, just talking to her, explaining to her. It hurt me. My son talking to me, it hurt me.
And you understand, sir, that cocaine, that's been known to have been laced with fentanyl also. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so counsel, what is it that, that you, I understand you're asking for this court not to adopt the recommendation for jail.
I can expand on that request.
Okay.
Thank you. And if I very may, just as a brief final point to your question, one of the things that I personally have kind of picked up from my many conversations with Mr. Benavides through this, there's I believe, a difficulty in speaking about mental health. And in our conversations, as an untrained medical professional, it is my sort of sense that there's been a lot of unresolved issues, particularly stemming from childhood, with a veteran father coming home with PTSD, and as he's growing up, without properly ever addressing those issues, I think many of those remained with him and were compounded upon during the difficulties of the COVID crisis. And what I think Mr. Benavides has tried to communicate, and certainly tried to communicate to me over many months, the time leading up to this was, I think, a rock bottom, in the sense that he was looking for an out. And of course, that was not the healthy decision, but I think the turnaround has been remarkable in that he is a motivation and an eagerness that I didn't notice in April. But with respect to the request that is, Your Honor, the reason why I believe it is fair to perhaps impose a non-incarceration sentence, a probationary sentence, and a probationary sentence that could be set with a significant intensity and burden on Mr. Benavides to ensure that not only he takes advantage of rehabilitative resources, but the court can, monitor, can, not only require them, but watch him benefit both, through regular testing, regular requirements, and see that his actions are with merit, or his representations are with merit. So perhaps a probationary period that is intense, that requires both substance abuse counseling and mental health counseling, I think could be a change in these situations that was not ever previously afforded, and perhaps could be the ultimate game changer with respect to Mr. Benavides and his life. Beyond that, Your Honor, or perhaps either in the alternative or as an addition, what I would request is the court is considering a period of incarceration. If the court would hold that in abeyance and again, let him prove that this is different, that he has the requisite tools and understanding to go forward in compliance and as a productive contributing citizen. And if his actions fail to show that, then the court has the jail sentence that they could impose upon him. But in holding it in abeyance, it could allow him to reap these opportunities that he has not had before in terms of that employment and that opportunity to both take care of and provide for his family, but also for many others. And he'll have that carrot on the stick, knowing that if he has even the closest thing to a slip up, this court has every opportunity to impose the harshest sentence possible.
Okay, and to that end, counsel, is your client we have a regional mental health court right here within this court. Is your client interested in participating in that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's
Yes, sir.
intense.
It is, and Your Honor, I'll say it like this, with every understanding that I have from our communications, I think that not only would he be willing to avail himself, I think he could thrive even under the intensity, because perhaps what we were even looking to propose is fashioning our own version of that with you, in terms of those, the burdens and requirements. But certainly I think, he would be more than willing and able to comply with his mental health court.
Okay, let's do this. Let's adjourn the sentencing so Mr. Benavides can undergo the screening to determine whether or not, and the assessments, to determine whether or not he would be eligible and it's something that he wants to do. So, we go off the record in just a moment because I can double check to see how long or if there's an assessment available today. So, but let's set this for August 1st, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Is that okay for your calendar, Council?
Could that be 9:30 as well?
We can do 9:30, yes. Okay, but in the meantime, we're going to take a brief recess where I can see where we're at with our assessment, and then that can give us a better idea with that date. So let's go off the record for just one moment. Mr. Shemke, can you speak to Mr. Cazares? 23754. All right, and so Council, I did confirm everything should be completed and then reviewed by the treatment team by August 1st, before that date. And so then we can have this for August 1st. So the treatment coordinator is going to chat with both of you out in the lobby. In just a few moments, I believe that there is an assessment, there's an appointment available for an assessment in the next couple of days. So I think she wanted to confirm that, and then she's gonna come chat with you. And so that way you know when those assessments and screenings are going to be, okay? And so we'll adjourn this to August 1st at 9:30. And Mr. Benavides, if you were to test right now, what's in your system?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. All right. And you've been testing, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I've never missed.
And when's the last time you tested?
I believe it was a week ago.
All right, the court's going to indicate bond and conditions are continued. And just have a seat out in the lobby, and then Courtney will be with you in just a little bit. Okay, thank you. Okay. 221477. And appearance, counsel?
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher Shemke, appearing on behalf of my client. This time we consent to the matter being heard via Zoom.
Okay. And thank you. And Mr. Cazares, your name, please.
Apollonio Cazares.
All right. And so, Mr. Cazares, you're on probation for operating while intoxicated. And it's alleged on June 7th, you tested positive for alcohol, and on June 20th, you tested positive for cocaine. So, counsel, what's happening today?
Your Honor, my client's been made aware that he did have a violation of probation hearing that will not be necessary. He's prepared to send her a guilty plea.
Okay, Mr. Cazares, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this matter to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. And sir, as to the allegations, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And you've gone over your advice of rights for probation violation purposes with your attorney, correct?
Correct.
And you understood all of those rights?
Yes.
And you also understand that by entering into a plea, that you'll be waiving some of those rights, specifically your right to a contested hearing?
Yes.
And knowing, and you've also gone over the possible penalty as a result of your plea, correct?
Correct.
Specifically, the recommendation is for you to continue and complete all terms of probation, $50 probation violation fee, 30 days on the alcohol tether after the 15 days that's recommended. 10 days that's recommended in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And knowing all that, you still want to continue with your plea?
Well, I hope I don't do no time.
Well, I understand that, but so you understand the possible penalties, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And knowing all that, you still want to continue with your plea?
Yes.
Okay. And counsel, I'm sorry, and sir, you also understand, I'm sorry, has anybody promised you anything, threatened you, or coerced you in any way for you to enter into a plea today?
No.
All right. And counsel, if you could please vote to your client.
Yes, I'd like to direct your attention back to June 7th, 2023. Did you submit a test that indicated the use of alcohol? Did you understand the question that I just asked you, Mr. Cazares?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
On June 7th, 2023, did you submit a test that indicated the use of alcohol?
Yes.
And then on June 20th, 2023, did you submit a test that indicated the use of cocaine?
Yes.
Satisfied, Your Honor.
The court is also satisfied the plea is knowing, voluntary, and factually accurate. The court will accept your plea to probation violations. Indicate that technical violations 1 and 2 are entered, and counsel adds to the recommendation.
Your Honor, I saw the recommendation for the alcohol tether. No objection, Judge. As to the jail time, I would be respectfully requesting consideration for a jail review. My client indicates that he can get this balance taken care of in short order and not have any other violations going forward with the terms and conditions of his probation.
Okay. So Mr. Cazares was sentenced October 30th of 2022. And he was sentenced on OWI first offense. High BAC and second offense were dismissed. And the court will note that these are the first violations for Mr. Cazares. However, at sentencing and per the probation order, there's mandatory jail for any violation. And so Mr. Cazares what was it that you consumed as far as alcohol that you tested positive for alcohol?
Just beer, Your Honor.
Just beer?
Yes.
Okay. How much beer?
Probably 3 or 4, maybe.
All right, well, what was the occasion?
Pardon me?
What was the occasion?
Oh, I just had friends stop by.
Well, sir,
I know that's not an
that's
excuse.
the only time you've had friends stop by while you've been on probation?
That I've drank, yeah.
Right, so that's my question. If you've had friends stop by since you've been on probation, you haven't had any alcohol, why this time?
I don't know. Just bad. I don't know. Bad call, I guess.
Okay, well, what about using cocaine?
The same thing.
Same friends?
Yes.
All right, well, sir, I can understand you don't want to go to jail, but you were on notice that any violation would be mandatory jail. So, The court's going to indicate the following. You're continuing to complete all terms of probation. You have a $50 probation violation fee. The court's going to indicate 10 days jail. And the court's going to indicate 30 days on the alcohol tether upon release. The court's going to also indicate that your color will change to have increased testing. Right, any questions?
No.
All right, sir, come on in this way, come on in the courtroom so that you can begin your sentence.